Have you come across the term toxic masculinity? And maybe emotional openness is a bit of a challenge for you. And you hear this man up kind of culture out there. Well, today I want to talk about these themes and the impact it can have on you mentally, and what I found has worked for me and what you may be able to implement in your life to help your mental health. So, welcome to the Men's Mental Health podcast today with me, Johnny Pardo. So, I wanted to touch on this because I used to think as a man, now, actually, before I go into that, I want to talk about masculinity and femininity. Now, as human beings, whatever gender we identify as, we've all got masculine and we've all got feminine energy. And there's different definitions out there. And it may serve some people in some ways and not serve others in others. But it's like all men are completely masculine and all women are feminine is not true. It's just not true. We have to have both of the masculine and the feminine elements in us. Now, this would be my interpretation of what both of those energies are, because I have both masculine and feminine energies in me. The masculine is about presence, it's about direction, it's about leadership, it's about holding the space. It is not about control. It is not about dictating what someone should do. It is leading, but creating the space and clarity as well. Now, feminine energy for me, and that's what healthy masculine energy is for me. Feminine energy for me is the flow, the expression of life, of our emotions. There's probably some more I could add, but I'm going to keep it very simple. And like I say, we have all these energy, both these energies in us, whatever gender we identify as. As a man, I used to be so focused on doing. And being the new masculine is not all about doing. I know there's going to be debates on what I'm talking about today, but I'm just going to share my truth and you can agree with me or not. I know there's debates out there about masculine's all about doing and achieving. Like for me, it's not. It may have been at one point and it didn't serve me because it would exhaust me. And my feminine is really important to get in as well because I want to experience my emotion. I want to allow that flow, that play in my life as well. And when I went to a really good men's group once, they said that actually all children to a certain age are dominantly in their feminine energy. They're in play, they're in flow. But as we grow up, we have to have some structure, right? We have to have some direction. We need to be in that masculine energy. And you can see it with single mums. They have to hold a lot of masculine energy in them because they've got to look after their kids by themselves. They've got to look after them. You've got to have a lot of love and respect for what they're doing. Or even, of course, if you're a single dad, you're also going to have to do that as well, hold that direction. But often, like, I hear, like, what is masculinity in a man, right? And like I said, some people are like, it's about doing, it's about achieving, it's about being seen. And for me, that is not good mentally and emotionally because it gets exhausting and it puts your state of emotional health out of your hands. It's like, right, I've got to achieve this, I've got to do this to feel good enough. And you can see it, it's like there's certain influences, and I won't name any today. You may know who I'm talking about, but they're like, this is what it means to be a man. And as a result, there's guys who go out there and don't treat women very well, right? And I'm so sorry, women, if you've been mistreated. Obviously, guys can get mistreated by women as well, and the other way around. But yeah, unfortunately, there's been some extreme cases of guys acting in a very toxic way, right? And that's just someone who's very wounded. Now, as a man, you can be wounded in two different ways. You can be wounded in many ways, but two main ways you can go from wounding is one, be that like nasty bad guy, right? Of like treating women badly, whether that's verbally, unfortunately, physically in some cases, or other ways, right? Or you just like, you ignore them, you treat them bad. Doesn't mean you're necessarily physical, beat them up, but you may just be like just cheating on them, not in a very nice way, that typical bad boy, right? But you could also be the other way, which is the nice guy. Certainly been there. Now I have been a bit of the bad guy, but not in a terrible way, but been in the way of like my ego driven, and then just, walking away from a woman and being distant and things like that. Like my younger 20s, we've all had experience in our life that we would change, right? Well, but they take us into who we are. But I've definitely been in a nice guy way, whereby you're scared to say your truth, say who you are, because you're scared of being left, or the woman will reject you for being who you are. Being a nice guy is not being yourself. It's about hiding who you are because you're scared of what someone else will say, right? And those are the ways wounding can go. Now, the healthy masculine for me is about emotionally being okay with yourself, sitting with your emotions, holding the space for yourself. And there's a phrase that really changed my life once. I think it was a John Wineland quote, but it was like, you can't, if we're talking about heterosexual relationships here, you can't expect to hold like a woman's emotions and be fully present with her if you can't be that for yourself. And I thought, wow. And that's when I really started going deep on my emotions, right? And certainly helped me in all kinds of relationships in my life. But yeah, like, a healthy masculine is about opening up. It doesn't mean you scream from the rooftops all your problems, by the way. No, it doesn't mean you go on your first date with someone and you're telling her or them about all your problems and your childhood trauma. No, we're not talking about that. That's just going to get you no second date, right? But we're talking about being open with yourself. We're talking about going to a men's group or getting the right coach or therapist or support so you can open up. It means not holding it just to yourself, but being able to admit things yourself as well. And yeah, if you've got a partner, it's okay to be a bit vulnerable, right? Or you're dating someone, be a bit vulnerable, right? And sometimes you can just be as vulnerable as saying, look, I've got, there's some deep things about me and I'm willing to share them with you, over time, or this is a bit of a challenge for me, right? And the right person's going to accept it. And those kind of conversations. But for me, like, what is healthy masculinity? And I want to talk about this because I think like doing and trying to achieve and trying to look good is not healthy. And like I say, we both have masculine and feminine energies. When I'm like angry or want to express my emotions, I'm certainly in my like feminine energy. And I allow that, I give myself the space, the masculine, to do that, right? But healthy masculinity for me is about holding the space, but it starts with yourself, the presence with yourself. You are going to have to do stuff in your life day to day, right? We have to earn bills, we have to interact with people, of course, right? But ultimately, it's about creating that space and clarity for yourself. So make sure you got some time for that and allow yourself to sit with your emotions and feel them first before anyone else. So that's what I want to really talk about in terms of this toxic masculinity, redefined, this emotional openness, open upness, just made up a word, emotional openness, and this whole like man up culture. Manning up for me, I didn't really touch on it, but don't like that phrase at all. It's like, basically, it's like, ignore your emotions so that they can build up in the background, and then you therefore will get really depressed because you're suppressing your emotions, or they'll explode at someone else and you'll regret what you do, right? That's what man up is for me. It's like, it's not healthy. It's about suppression, and suppression is certainly not healthy. So that's what I wanted to share with you today. Thank you so much for listening. I appreciate you for being here, and I'll speak to you on my next episode.